You wake up, scroll through your phone, and see the headline, CEO earns $100 million last year. And you're like, seriously? For what? It's a question a lot of people are asking. CEO pay has gone through the roof. Back in the late 1970s, the average CEO made about 30 times what a regular worker made. Today, it's more than 300 times, and in some cases, over 1,000 times. That's not just a raise, that's a whole new reality. These days, CEOs don't just get big salaries. They get huge bonuses, stock options, and perks most of us can't even imagine, like private jets, personal security teams, and millions in stock just for showing up. Meanwhile, the average worker's pay has barely moved. Since 1978, CEO compensation has jumped over 1,200%. Worker pay, just 24%. So what's going on? Why are the people at the top getting so much more while everyone else is left behind? In this video, we're breaking down the real reasons behind this massive gap. And by the end, you'll have a clearer picture of whether all that CEO money is actually earned or just out of control. Not too long ago, CEOs were well paid, but they weren't living like celebrities. Back in the 1960s and 70s, most CEOs made solid upper-class incomes. Their pay was mostly just a salary, maybe with a small bonus. A CEO might have earned 20 to 30 times what the average worker made. Still a lot, but nothing like today's numbers. So what changed? In the 1980s and 1990s, the game shifted. Companies started tying CEO pay to stock performance. Instead of just cutting a check, boards gave executives stock options. Basically, the right to buy company shares at a set price. If the stock went up, the CEO made millions. If it didn't, well, at least they tried. At first, it sounded smart. Align the CEO's success with the company's success. But in practice, it opened the door to eye-popping paydays, especially during stock market booms. Then came the perks. Private jets, golden parachutes, huge payouts if they're fired, and massive signing bonuses just to take the job. What started as a reward system turned into a race. Each new CEO deal raised the bar for the next one, and suddenly, just making $10 million a year started to look average. One of the biggest reasons CEO pay has skyrocketed? Stocks. Instead of just giving cash, companies now give CEOs stock options and equity awards. That means a big chunk of their pay depends on the company's stock price. If the stock goes up, their pay explodes. If it doesn't, they still often walk away with a comfortable base salary. This system was designed to make CEOs care about company performance, but it also means that a rising market can turn a normal paycheck into a $50 million jackpot. And let's be real, sometimes that payday happens even when the company isn't doing great, as long as the stock holds steady. This shift to equity-based pay helped create a system where CEOs don't just earn a living, they build personal fortunes. Here's another part of the puzzle: peer comparisons. When boards decide how much to pay a CEO, they often look at what other companies are paying their leaders. They don't want to underpay their CEO and risk losing them to a competitor. So they aim for the top 25% just to be safe. But guess what happens when every company wants to pay more than average? The average keeps rising. This cycle is known as ratcheting up. And it pushes CEO pay higher and higher every year, whether performance improves or not. No one wants to be the company with the cheap CEO, so everyone overpays a little, and the bar keeps rising. Companies also argue that top executive talent is rare and global. They say leading a major company today is more complex than ever. CEOs are managing billion-dollar businesses, thousands of employees, global supply chains, and public pressure. So if you want the best of the best, you've got to pay up. Think of it like professional sports. There are only so many elite players and every team wants one. So salaries skyrocket. But critics say this argument is overblown. They point out that most companies promote from within and that many CEOs aren't actually moving from company to company for higher pay. Still, the war for talent idea keeps salaries high. There's also a softer issue: how CEO pay is decided behind closed doors. Corporate boards are supposed to represent shareholders and hold CEOs accountable. But in many cases, CEOs have close relationships with board members. Some board members are even former CEOs themselves. This creates a cozy atmosphere where big pay packages get approved without much pushback. Add in compensation consultants, legal teams, and a desire to keep the peace, and you get what critics call a rubber stamp culture. Even when shareholders vote on CEO pay, called say on pay, it's often non-binding, so unless there's major controversy, most high-dollar packages sail through. Let's talk about the gap, the one between the person at the top and everyone else. In 2023, the average S&P 500 CEO made about $16.7 million. Meanwhile, the median worker in those same companies earned around $77,000. That's a pay ratio of over 250 to 1. And in some companies, it's more than 1,000 to 1. This growing divide isn't just a talking point, it's changing the economy. When CEOs and top executives take home more and more of the corporate pie, there's less left for workers, reinvestment, or even customer savings. And while a rising stock price benefits shareholders, most of the stock is owned by the wealthiest 10% of Americans. That means the rewards are stacking up at the top while the middle and lower classes fall further behind. It's also fueling frustration. People are working harder, juggling multiple jobs, and still struggling to afford homes, healthcare, or college for their kids, while CEOs get bonuses bigger than entire department budgets. And here's the thing, even during recessions or layoffs, many CEOs still get paid millions. That's a tough pill to swallow for workers who just got laid off or saw their hours cut. So yeah, CEO pay isn't just a headline, it's part of a much bigger story about who's winning in today's economy and who's getting left behind. Let's break this down with some eye-popping real-world cases. In 2021, Elon Musk made headlines for what might be the biggest CEO pay deal in history, a package worth over $50 billion. Yes, billion. But here's the catch. It wasn't a salary. It was all tied to Tesla's performance. If the company hit certain milestones like market value and revenue goals, Musk would earn massive stock payouts. Did he hit them? He crushed them. And just like that, he became the richest man on earth, at least on paper. Then there's Sundar Pichai, CEO of Alphabet, Google's parent company, who was awarded a $226 million compensation package in 2022. Most of that was in stock, spread over several years, but it still raised eyebrows, especially as the company laid off over 10,000 workers. Or take David Zaslav, CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery. In 2021, he made $246 million, largely from a one-time stock grant. The following year, his pay dropped to around $39 million, which still sparked backlash, especially as the company slashed costs and canceled shows. These examples show the pattern. CEOs can make fortunes, even in years when their companies face layoffs, cutbacks, or underperformance. It's not always about results, it's about how the deals are structured. And to the average worker, those numbers can feel like a different universe. Most Americans aren't cheering for CEOs making $100 million. In fact, polls show that a large majority of people across political lines think CEO pay is way too high. There's a growing sense that the system is rigged, especially when companies lay off workers or raise prices while still handing out massive executive bonuses. It's not just about the money, it's about fairness. So what's being done? In 2010, the Dodd-Frank Act required public companies to disclose the ratio of CEO pay to median worker pay. That gave everyone a clear picture of the gap. It also introduced the Say on Pay rule, giving shareholders a vote on executive compensation. But here's the catch. The vote is non-binding. Boards can ignore it. Some cities have tried to go further. Portland, Oregon, for example, added a tax on companies where the CEO to worker pay ratio exceeds 100 to 1. Still, real limits on CEO pay are rare, and corporate boards usually have the final say. At the end of the day, the system hasn't changed much. CEOs keep earning more, even when regular workers feel the squeeze. And the public, they're watching more closely than ever. So, is it worth it? Supporters say yes. They argue that running a global company is one of the toughest jobs in the world. The stakes are high and the pressure is non-stop. A great CEO can grow a business, create thousands of jobs, and deliver big returns to shareholders. But here's the other side. Many CEOs get paid more for showing up than for delivering results. Their contracts are padded with bonuses, stock grants, and golden parachutes. So even if they fail, they still walk away rich. And while their wealth grows by the millions or billions, most workers are still stuck fighting for basic raises, affordable healthcare, or a shot at owning a home. That's where the real tension lies. It's not that people think CEOs should be poor. It's that the gap has gotten so wide, it feels impossible to justify. So the next time you hear about a $200 million CEO payday, ask yourself, did they really earn it? Or is the system just set up to keep the rich getting richer? I want to hear your take. Do you think CEO pay is out of control or totally justified? Drop a comment below, hit like if this got you thinking, and make sure to subscribe for more real talk on money, power and the economy.